everyone, and welcome to the second part of the Color My World class. And in this part we'll cover coloring with wax-based coloring pencils. And I have two types of, well, not types, two brands of wax-based coloring pencil. Those are the Caran d'Ache Luminance that you can see here, and the second type are the Prismacolor. The Caran d'Ache are artist grade pencils, and those are on the pricier side, where Prismacolors are more popular between the stampers, and their price is quite a bit lower than the Luminance one. But because those are the artist grade, those are the blending abilities are pretty good. So, and here the Prismacolor, I have pretty much the whole collection, but I was buying them individually, so I'm keeping those in a pencil holder. So, and then we'll cover blending using Gamsol. That's this little, well, it's 16 ounces container. I purchased this from the art supply store, and it's lasted for quite a long time. I've had it since like 7 years ago. Then we'll be using some this is Finesse blending pen, colored pencil blending pen, and this is like colorless blender, is Copic, but you can use as well now the color lifter from the Blendabilities. And then blending using baby oil. Well, this is body oil, but we use it as a baby oil at home. So it's from Honest Company, and it's organic, so there's nothing bad in it. So as well, when you use coloring pencils, you can't really color on Whisper White cardstock or cardstock with smooth finish, so it needs to have like kind of two on it, so the colors can stay on it. So you can use the naturals, like this is the Stampin' Up! Naturals Ivory. So we'll do that. And then I have Canson. This is meant for pastels, but it's really good for colored pencils too. And I have two. This is the Earth colors, and as well I have the gray tones. So you can purchase those in any art supply store. And then I'm stamping with Memento ink, because when we're using the blending techniques, because the Gamsol can kind of dissolve the stamp stays on. So I have my cardstock here. I'll try to zoom in a little bit more, and let's move this here so you can see better. Okay, and then we'll stamp. I'll use the blended bloom from the new catalog, and I'll stamp it with Memento ink. So compared from the Blendabilities that I showed you last week, this one, like, usually I start coloring light to dark. So here is the my flower, and I'll try to sharpen the zoom. Let me just find it. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Okay, I think this is much better. I'll zoom in a little bit more. Okay, this is the furthest it would go. Okay, so there's my flower, and we'll start coloring it. I'll be using first the Luminance. Let me put this one underneath so I don't lose it. So I'll be using Caran d'Ache Luminance, and I'll use some of the blue tones. Let's try those two. And then let's see from the other set. Not really other set, but the continuation of. So, okay, I'm picking those three, and then I'll use one white, and I'm using this is Buff Titanium. So here are the range of colors I'm using. So, and then we'll start coloring. So as I said, we're starting from light to dark, and we'll just leave the white for towards the end. So we're starting from the lightest blue to the darkest one. So okay, I removed one of the blues, and I have those three here. So this is my lightest one, and I'll just color the whole petal. And you don't need to worry to cover the whole thing. You will see, because the little areas that didn't cover, but don't worry, we'll go again. And then I'll go with the darker one and put darker color where I think it should be darker, so it's around the petals where they're overlapping. And then a little bit here. And then I'll go with my darkest one and put the darkest tone. Okay, then I'll go with the one that I put aside. This is like next to the darkest one. So it kind of blend it. You can use circular motions. And you can see how it's getting blended. And then we'll go with the, not the lightest, but the medium to the lightest. Kind of blend all those colors together. And then I'll go with my white. This is actually buff titanium. It's almost white. And I want here to be the lightest. So I'll just do white. And then I'll go with the lightest blue. So, and there you have it. It's pretty quick and easy. I mean, those pencils are perfect for blending, so they make it easy to blend the colors. So there we have that one, and they're awesome. I mean, they're about $300 for the 78 pack, but it's worth every penny. So now let's do something else. Let's use this blending tool. It's a colored pencil blender pen, and we'll do another petal. Actually, I don't really want to color this one. Okay, I'll stamp the flower again. And let me find my other piece of paper. Okay. So here we have the other flower. So now we'll try the different blending techniques that I mentioned earlier. So we'll just do everything on this flower. So I'm putting my, not the lightest, but next to the lightest, and then a little bit of the lightest. So you'll see here there's no color, so we'll just go with the blender pen. And the blender pen has brush tip and a bullet point tip. So it's pretty much similar like the blendabilities, like they have brush tip, and you'll just start from the where you put the darkest color, and in circular motion kind of pull that color towards the end and blend it in. And then you can just clean your blender pen. So that was you'll see that the color is blended and it's more like smooth color. And then we'll go with the darkest one on a different petal. I'll do this one and then we'll do the Gamsol. So I have little Gamsol in this little container, and there's a sponge, so it's the sponge absorbs the Gamsol. So when you will need the paper stumps. So you'll just, because this is like the, I'll just dip my stump in the Gamsol or in the sponge, and then again in circular motion start blending from the edges towards the outside. So then I'll show you how to blend with the blender pen. So I'll use the, not the darkest, but little bit lighter color, blue tone. So I'm coloring here. And then I'll go with the next shade. And then I'll go a little bit with the white. And then I'll take my colorless blender or color lifter, and then again start from the edges where it's the darkest and towards the lightest. So it blends, but it doesn't achieve as good blending as with the blender, color pencil blender pen or the Gamsol. So, and then I'll clean. And then lastly we'll try with the baby oil. Just turn this one and go to different petal. So I'll do lighter color, not the lightest but the next in line. And then I'll take the baby oil, and again I'll use the paper stump, just dip it a little bit. You can as well use the techniques where, sorry for my arm being in the way, you can put it in a container like this with a stamping sponge and keep it there, and then again start from the edges and pull that color. Towards the front. So that's the all different blending techniques. This one, the baby oil, it's kind of, it will need to dry a little bit so you can see better the how it is. So here's this one here. This is the blending pen. This is the copy colorless blender or color lifter from Blendabilities. This is the Gamsol, and this is the baby oil. This is still wet, so it will need to dry a little bit so you can see better the results, but it will be similar like the Gamsol. So those are the luminance. And then as well, another tip for if your color go over the lines. So when we color, for example, the middle, let me zoom in here. Okay. We color the middle of the flower. Let me pick out, like, let's get some of the yellow shades. If I want the center to be yellow. Okay, here I have. So I picked 3 of the yellow shades, and I'll start with the lightest one. So I'll just color the middle. And then I'll go with the darker one. And then the darkest one. And around I'll go with the white. Well, not really white, but it's buff titanium. It's very close to white. And again, I'll go with the darkest yellow. So let me zoom in and show you what I'm trying to demonstrate here. So you can see here that the color is over the black ink. So what we can do with the colorless, not the colorless, but with the blending pen is go over those lines and kind of gently go, and this will remove the ink, the pencil that goes over the link and the ink, not link, and it will give you nicer color. And it will have nice contrast. And because we applied more color in the middle, so it will take a while, not really a while, but few you'll need to go a few times over it to remove the color. So okay, this looks much better. Let me clean this one up. So let me zoom in. You can see this now looks much better. Okay, that's using the luminance coloring pencils, and we'll do pretty much the same thing using the Prismacolor coloring pencils.